love the city of Camas, but when it comes down to paying out money, are we gonna have input to the expenses that they're gonna bill us for? Are they just gonna divide them out? And
No, that's something that Mitch and I would kind of look at and come to an agreement on some of the expenses.
that's all we need, thanks.
Could you bring that back to Public Safety Committee at any time if we requested it, and just to see where you guys are at, how that process, maybe that'd be the best thing, and that way the council's got a little bit of a chance to interact with it in the meantime throughout the year.
I think you guys would be a good gauge as well on that committee at looking at how the initial process was set up for the prorated share of the costs as well. One of the things that we tried to do when we started looking at it is not just look at the number of officers everybody had, or one versus the other, or how many annual tickets we put through, or any of that off of historical data. It was more of a blending of that to try and come up with something that was more fair to both sides, but always knowing that it had flexibility to be looked at again because it was starting something new, and we truly don't know exactly where it's gonna go as far as the weight for any one of the two cities, so. Yeah, I would think that that would be appropriate to come back to that committee to make sure and double check that what we've done at a staffing level is holding true. Dave?
I agree, so long as it doesn't interfere with the timeline that you need to operate with Camas.
No.
I don't want you holding up operations to consultants.
Jennifer?
Yeah, the effective date is December 31st of 2010, and either party is required to give a year's written notice before they can terminate the contract for the whole year.
The whole year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. 'Cause that, it would be quite a bit of time to kind of figure out what you're gonna do for court fees, so that gives either city plenty of time to come up with a next plan.
And the district court.
Yes.
It's taken us a year to get to this point, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not surprised if it was canceled, it would take another year to get to another
Yeah.
point.
Any other questions? Okay. Chief, approval of propertyroom.com?
We're going to hold that one.
Okay.
Bring it up next.
Tonight is going by quicker and quicker. And supplemental professional services with Paul Lewis. Dave?
The green sheet that you have in front of you is a copy of the letter we received from Paul Lewis for supplemental professional services. Next week, there'll be an item on the agenda to enter into a supplemental professional services agreement with Paul. The purpose of the supplemental is to further our discussion and analysis around potential consolidation of the fire departments. The joint ad hoc committee that consists of 2 council members, the mayors and administrators from the respective cities, as well as representatives from the volunteers and the professional staff and our chiefs, discussed what level of financial analysis should be done. We talked about that at one of our previous work sessions. There was kind of a full spectrum of where that could land. The committee landed on the low cost and smaller side of the spectrum to start with. And so we are proposing that Mr. Lewis, who already has familiarity with our budgets and also with Camus's, in particular in this area, undertake the evaluation of a potential organizational structure and kind of see where we're at with that. And based on those results, it can inform further decisions of the respective councils on which direction it should go. Paul's provided, as usual, a very detailed plan of attack on how to go after this project. He's estimating 34 hours for a total cost of $3,740. This is to be split between the 2 cities, and I'm working with Camas now. Either we'll take care of it ourselves here and bill Camas and they'll remit to us, or we'll split it in half and each community will take care of their share. I think we're leaning toward the latter. It might just be cleaner that way. What I bring back will probably round that number up just a little bit because you want to just make sure if it takes them an extra hour that we don't have to come back and ask for that extra hour. But it'll either be half of that amount or it'll be the full amount, depending on how we're going to do it with Canvas. And he'll get started right away upon council authorization. We have an existing agreement with Paul that was for financial services, helping us out on any number of things. There's just not quite enough time left in that for the scope of this project. There's maybe 4 or 5 hours left in that, which is why we need to bring this supplemental to you. So it'll be on next week.
So this year's budget or next year's?
This year's, yeah. I think he he's got about a week's worth of work in there. I don't know if it'll take him a month to put in a week, but we should have the results of his work in 2010. So I look forward to seeing that.
Just a comment, having seen quality and professionalism of the work he's done for us so far, I think this is money very well spent.
Familiarity with both budgets is a huge item, I think. Well, and trust in what his
Yes,
abilities are. I think that's the second biggest thing. So.
Did you say this was in the budget for 2010?
No.
Or not?
It is. We don't need additional appropriation. It's just the agreement that needs to be updated. The funds would be taken out of the finance department where there's some salary savings still from
Okay.
the finance director vacancy early in the year.
Okay. Wow, it just keeps giving and giving, doesn't it?
Thanks, Jennifer.
Any other questions on that item for Jake? Okay. Budget presentation. We've got some big books in front of us. What we wanted to do this evening was go through, I know staff has a PowerPoint presentation for us, and you've got copies of that in front of you in regards to the process that we've gone through, some of the updated information for the most recent quarters, plus the preliminary budget going into 2011. Some of the highlights that the individual department heads will be giving in regards to the 2011 budgets. Again, a lot of the detail itself inside the departments is fairly similar to what we had last year for the most part, just coming down in cost to some degree along the way. I know the staff has been laboring, well, even through this morning. These were literally being printed at a little after 5 o'clock this evening to get you the most up-to-date and accurate information that we could as far as where we are in the budget process as we currently stand. As we go through, the department heads, like I said, will give some information as far as their highlights for their department for the year, such as they are. And then in your booklets that you've also got all the backup detail. What we're hoping for is not to necessarily go through all the backup detail and questions and that type of stuff this evening, to go over some of the larger issues and questions in there in regards to funding, in order to get council feedback to bring back for hopefully what we're getting towards a final budget. This evening as we go though for council, if you do have questions, go ahead and break in on the conversation. Doesn't really matter to me whether we hold questions to the end or as we go